Hi, I recently watched The Outlaw Josey Wales, Clint Eastwood's 1976 film, a revisionist Western intended for the 20th anniversary, 200th anniversary of America. It started out as a project, uh, as a novel, in fact, written by a white supremacist and was then heavily reworked by its original director, Philip Kaufman, who wanted something more introspective and more of a revisionist Western in the manner of the spaghetti westerns that Eastwood had made in the 1960s. During production, Eastwood didn't like the direction that Kaufman was steering the project, so he decided to simply fire the director and take over himself, for which he was sued. And there is now a rule at the Directors Guild of America that you can't simply fire the director and take over yourself. If the director is removed from a project, the replacement has to be someone who wasn't previously involved. It's the story of Josey Wales, who, beginning, we see as a simple farmer whose family is murdered by guerrillas working for the Northern armies. He joins a group of Southern guerrillas in return and fight their way across the United States during the war. By the end of the war, at the beginning of the picture, most of them have decided to give up, go home, and formally surrender. But this turns out to be a trick, and the rest of his unit are killed, apart from his former commander, who suspected, I think, that was what is going to happen. Wales therefore goes on the run, heading for Mexico, but picks up a number of characters along the way. A Native American played by Chief Dan George, a couple of pilgrims traveling across country to whom he gives unexpected protection. And gradually, he slowly shifts in himself, going from someone who has lived his last few years for violence and revenge to someone who sees a future beyond the gun, someone who maybe can pursue a life of peace. And this is cleverly illustrated in scenes where he diffuses tension and is able to resolve conflicts through negotiation and give and take rather than simply shooting. It's a very subtle and intelligent piece of work, and it really goes with his earlier spaghetti westerns. The West is a dark, brutal place, and in this movie, the villains are actually the Northerners who are refusing to let a single holdout from the Southern armies go, regardless of the rights and wrongs of the war itself. Eastwood's character of Wales develops over the course of the story, becoming more of a man of peace, more someone who wants to settle down and just live a quiet life after everything he's been through and avoid conflict, whilst those who are after him want nothing more than his blood. Um, Eastwood had already directed a number of movies by this point, and it's an extremely well made, well directed film with excellent supporting performances. John Vernon as the leader of the posse, Chief Dan George is superb as effectively the comic relief, a father figure to Eastwood, and a very entertaining character. And there's a small role for Sondra Locke, her first film with Eastwood, as the woman who might unlock the closed off character. Overall, I thought it was a very engaging, very entertaining, very enjoyable film, very dark and brutal on many occasions, but it has something important to say about American history and the way that America needs to turn its back on violence in order to become a whole nation. Um, I thought it was excellent and I'd recommend it very highly.